Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, I'm making this video in an effort to reach out to parents and teens, people of that age. This is the time of year where there's a lot of parties. At the end of the year, it's beginning of summer. School ends, graduation, and all that stuff. And just this morning here in Connecticut, I'll have links for this down below. There's actually a trial of because there was a stabbing here in Connecticut at a teen party, and the party went very bad. People got stabbed. Like I said, the link for that will be right down below. And I have my own story. The point of this video is, I remember how I was as a teen, and if I watched this video, somebody telling me not to go to parties when I was a teen, I would say, screw you. I know better. If you go to a party, or, if you're a teen or a parent of a teen, at least try to keep your wits about you and keep an eye out for things going bad, for this kind of thing happening. If you start to see a disturbance, people fighting, don't stand there and try to film it with your cell phone. Just try to get out of the area. And I'm going to tell you why. This is what happened to me. This was before cell phones. This was in 1986, believe it or not. I had just graduated high school. My friends had gone to college just for the first year. It was 1985, 1986. And it was this time of year. And I went to a house party of one of my friends, except he was off at college. I was 19 years old. He was off at college. But his younger brother in high school was having a party. It was a nice upper class neighborhood, kind of out in the woods of the farm country here in Connecticut. And I went to this party. And, I knew the family. I'd slept over there many nights. Me and this guy were best friends, but he wasn't there. And his younger brother was throwing the party. And it was all younger people, like 3 or 4 years younger than me, still in high school, that I didn't know. So there was just only a few people my age, friends of the older brother. And the older brother had told me, keep an eye on the party, keep an eye on the house, make sure my younger brother doesn't trash the house. I'm counting on you to kind of police the party. So I was like, no problem, I got this. So I went to this party. And the friction started right away because I was an older guy, 4 or 5 years older, and none of them knew me except for the younger brother. We were friends, and I didn't know them. And right off the bat, the way they were treating the house, it was almost like my second home. And I started to get angry right away. Who are these people? And they're making food, they're cooking up, eggs and stuff at 2 in the morning, and just making a mess and standing on the furniture, So I'm starting to get upset, and eventually it starts to become an altercation, and it's the guys in the football team, like the jocks, that I didn't know, friends of the brother. And we were in the driveway by the garage, and a fight started between me and about 5 of those guys. They wanted me to leave to get, I was ruining their party. I was, I was an outsider. I said, there's no way I'm leaving. I was invited here. This is like my second home. You guys are leaving. And a fight started. And at one point, about 4 or 5 guys from the football team picked me up. I was, we were all big guys. I was 6'4", over 6'4" at the time. They picked me up by my arms and carried me backwards and threw me against the side of a car. And my back and head, well, my back and my hips went through the windows, went through the side windows of the car. And I broke the windows, and I came back swinging. And I swung and swung. And what I didn't know was one of the sisters of the guys on the football team got in the middle of it, stop, and I didn't know this, I just got thrown through a car window. So, I was just fighting for my life at this point, and I'm throwing punches. And what happened was, I didn't know, I had no idea at the time, but I hit the sister. I punched her right in the face and knocked her out. All right. Which I can't, I hate to hear those words even come out of my mouth. I've never hit a woman in my life. And I didn't even know this. And all of a sudden, this second rage starts boiling up with everybody, and they gather around the girl. He knocked her out, he killed her, and I just see This is going to go very, very bad for me very quick. So they start coming after me, the whole party. Seriously, like 30, 40, 50 people. And I just start running. There's no streetlights on, it's out in the woods. It's kind of, there's houses about every quarter mile. It's a neighborhood, but it's very loose, separated. So I start running. I end up hiding. Then the whole party is out hunting for me. I end up, I'm pouring sweat. I'm torn up by prickers and rose bushes, and I'm just drenched. I have poison ivy. I didn't know at the time. I was just, torn up and covered in sweat, dirt, and I'm hiding under a canoe in a side yard by a camper, not far from the street. And I'm watching under the canoe, and I see the packs of people going by looking for me, just raging, and they're carrying baseball bats, they're carrying hose. One's carrying a scythe, like you cut grass with. Implements that were in the garage, they grabbed all this stuff, and they were hunting for me. They thought I had killed or knocked out this girl, and they were looking for blood. I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, I was terrified. I was running for my life. My heart's pounding right now. I ended up getting away. I eventually got back to the house by about 3 or 4 in the morning. Everybody had left, and I'm telling the brother's there cleaning up, and I'm a mess, man. I'm drenched. I'm starting to tear up and cry. I was running for my life. I was like, I was just looking out for the house, and it all worked out. Here's the funny part of this. I never knew who the girl was that I hit, and then I was dating, different girls when I was in my 20s. I was using at the time and everything, going to bars and all that. And I had been seeing one girl. We'd hook up once in a while. And one night she told me, she's like, you probably don't, do you remember that? You don't know? She's like, I'm the girl you hit. I'm the girl you knocked out, and I had no idea. I'd been dating this girl, and I had no idea this was the person. And we laughed about it. It was nothing funny, but we laughed about it at the time, but running for my life, going to a party, a teen, I'm a 19, I'm going to a party, summer party, watch after my friend's house, drink some beer, have fun, shoot some pool, play some volleyball. And it turns into me running for my life in the blink of an eye. That's how quick it happens. All right. So if you go to a party, man, if stuff breaks out, keep an eye out. I know people. No matter what I say, people are going to party. If somebody told this to me when I was a teen, I would just say, screw you. But if you go to a party, remember this story. And if a fight breaks out, don't get in the middle of it. Get away from it as best you can, because that kind of thing has a tendency to suck the people in around it, and things go bad very quickly, whether you did something wrong or not. Just a tip from somebody who's been there. Have a good Tuesday.